Okay, I'm here with Sarah Lewis with our latest book in the BMI series in Dialogic OD, co-creating planning teams for Dialogic OD from entry to event. Thanks for spending time with me, Sarah.
It's a pleasure.
So, how did you get into the field of organization development?
Um, Really through necessity. I was working at a residential establishment in the child protection arena for kind of end of the line families. And as is often the case in these sort of environments, there was no money. So if I wanted to develop the staff or develop the service, I pretty much had to get on with doing it myself, which we did. We trained staff and we reorganized how we delivered our service. And then from there, I found my way to a place called Kensington Consultation Centre in the UK and did a course with them called Certificate in Systemic Consulting, which was where I came across appreciative inquiry, although the whole diploma or certificate was about dialogic approaches to OD, essentially. And so that's where I picked up some of the theory to back up the practice I'd already started, really.
Mhm. And how long have you been in the field?
Well, I became an independent practitioner in 1993. And I guess at the beginning, the kind of OD that I was doing was very much working with teams. And then that slowly expanded to larger and larger systems over more recent years.
Okay. Well, I think that's one of the things that comes through in your book is that you've been in the field quite a long time and you've got a lot of experience behind you. And there's a lot of wisdom in there. In fact, it was helpful for me. I and I noticed that in my own practice, a lot of times, a management group will want to be the planning team. And sometimes I have to push back at that. And I wonder, from your point of view, why is it important to create a planning team when you're going to do a large-scale dialogic OD process?
Yeah, I think there's probably two key things from my point of view. One is if you have a good mix in the planning team, um, you will get a lot of really robust testing of the ideas you have for your events or your process, because they will tell you if it's not going to work for their particular grade or specialism or function, or the kind of people that are in their arena. So, so what you design is likely to be robust and will work. That's the one. That's the first thing. Get the objections in there, not when you're introducing the event.
Mhm.
Find them out early.
Mhm.
And the second one, which I think is really important, is that they take up ownership for what's going on, and they become kind of ambassadors for the event. So you really need them to believe this is going to work, because you need them to persuade other people that it's going to work and to come along. They need to get invested in it. And if you've got someone from almost every community within your organization who are part of the planning team and are getting excited about its potential, then there's none of this having to sell it to people or all the rest of it. You've got a team who are doing all that work for you.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. That makes a lot of sense to me, and might explain some of the things that haven't worked so well in some of my work in the past. Um, and I think one of the beautiful things about this book, and the reviewers of the book have mentioned this as well, is that the case is a very realistic case, and in terms of it doesn't go exactly as planned. Things people show up who have a very different point of view on what should be happening, and the internal partner you have, the internal change agent, doesn't seem to get doesn't get the need to be inspiring as opposed to being kind of like technical in their language and that. And I was, the book ends, we don't really know what happens because it just takes us up to when the event occurs. But I've been very curious if Francis ever learned to use a more inspiring approach to the work he does.
Um, Francis was previously an engineer by trade before he moved into human resources. Um, and no, it never really sat with him, to be honest. And um, I think he would have leapt a million miles from me if the thing had gone wrong from the when we did our event. But as it happened, it went extremely well, and he was very happy to be associated with it. But he kind of had, you know, wanted to run with the hares and hunt with the hounds, as we say, sort of was never quite 100% sure that this was really going to work. But to be, but I, you know, he was, as I say in the book, he was kind of saw himself as the defender of the faith. This is the culture of the organization. This is the language people are going to understand. You know, you can't push them too far, too fast. So between the two of us, you know, we probably hit a good place. And I think the strangest thing is the space it created for the group to get a hold of that language and kind of own it for themselves and see for themselves, we have to do something different here. If this is just another invitation amongst the massive emails we're all dealing with, it's not going to register with people. We have to make the language different. Mm-hmm. And that it created space for them to do that rather than me saying, you know, this is what you need to do.
You know, the point you made about the two of you, that it's in the co-creation between, you know, him holding the culture of the organization and you bringing in a new way of doing things, that you find that sweet spot, which is probably in the end kind of, you know, why you create planning teams for Dialogic OD, is exactly to find that sweet spot. I'm wondering, you know, for people who are kind of new to this work, is there any other key messages you hope they get from your book?
I think it's I think I learned the hard way not to just walk into situations on somebody's say so, you know, oh, the team all know each other, oh, they all understand what this is about, oh, they're all ready for this, oh, this is the right thing to be, you know, working on, oh, okay, fine, I'll come along and deliver something, and discovering, you know, none of that was actually what I met in the room. So the more you work with people beforehand to create the best possible conditions for something good to happen, the greater the chance that the event or the process, you know, will be good and something good will happen. It's the work that you do beforehand that influences what happens on the day. And if you've worked with your team and you've got them in the room with you, they're in this wonderful position. They don't have to take a formal role of being facilitator or host or scribe or anything else, but they are in the event and they understand with a depth that most other people don't, why we're doing things the way we're doing them, how one thing flows into another, how the whole thing kind of holds together, where it's heading, where we're hoping we're going to be at the end. And they pull on that to bring everybody else with them when other people kind of, I don't quite, you know, why are we having this conversation? Oh, you'll see. You know, it's going somewhere. So all that work you do beforehand just pays dividends when you actually move into a dialogic event or as you continue through that dialogic process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of wisdom.
Actually, there's something else I'd want to add to that as well, which is it can feel hard. That's what I learned, because you know,
and that comes through in the case as you describe it. You know, there are times when you have to eat a bit of crow that you don't deserve even in order to keep the thing moving along.
Yeah, just that, and just feeling bruised sometimes by the, you know, the kind of the amount of pushback and the, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's part of what change is about.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that people who pick up your book are just going to really enjoy reading it and get a lot from it. So that is co-creating planning teams for Dialogic OD from entry to event. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.